going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beating FPL. Today we're going to be looking at how I got on in game week 6 and look ahead towards game week 7, see what things that we've got lined up, what transfers, the good options that we have in defence, midfield, forward, some transfer dilemmas, and who we're going to be captaining as well. But I think there's only one place that we should start today, and that's by looking back to my last video. So this was the title and thumbnail of my last video, #1 in the world, with a bit of an FPL background, bit of a fantasy bet background, and yeah, a lot of people weren't happy. So what I'd like to do is very quickly just give you a quick lesson in clickbait, okay? So I did say in the video that the title was a little bit clickbaity. The video got almost as many dislikes as it did likes. A lot of people weren't happy with the supposed clickbait in the title. Now, as someone that comes from the world of marketing, clickbait to me means that you say one thing in the title and then you don't deliver on what you say in the title in the video. So an example of this could be, I got knocked out, and then in the video it could just be you getting punched in the face and still standing there. Or the video title could be, I got punched in the face and realistically you got tapped on the back of the head or something like that. That is clickbait. But me saying #1 in the world, not saying FPL, I know I had an FPL background, but there was fantasy bet on the background as well, and people putting 2 and 2 together and assuming I meant FPL, that is just sort of clever marketing in my opinion. Obviously, I'm biased because it was my idea and I think everything I do is absolutely brilliant. But the fact was I was #1 in the world on fantasy bet for that week and not on FPL. And a lot of people were annoyed by this. I had comments saying, prick, that was fine, things like that. And some stuff saying, apologising for clickbait doesn't make it okay. Honestly, if you're offended by words and pictures, I recommend that you don't carry on watching on this channel anymore because it's not going to be for you. If you do want to stick around on the channel though, make sure you hit that subscribe button with notifications turned on. And let's get moving forward with the rest of this video now. Okay, so I had another good week. So we're now in game week 6, and for all 6 weeks I've been comfortably above the average. This week I managed to get 65 points and I only had 10 players playing, so I was very happy. In my last video I did say that I was going to try and hold my transfer, but I didn't hold it in the end. I decided to get Danny Ings out and bring in Mitrovic, so that worked out kind of well. The reason I decided to go for the transfer was because I had Mendy definitely out, Ings definitely out, and then Arnautovic was a doubt, and I thought Guendouzi might not play, and it turns out that he didn't. So I had 2 people definitely out and 2 people that I thought might not play. That would already leave me with 10, so I thought it's worth getting rid of one of those people that definitely wouldn't play, bring in someone that would. So I did Ings to Mitrovic, which is an interesting transfer because I wanted to do Arnautovic to Mitrovic, but because of the fact that Arnautovic might have played and Ings definitely wouldn't, I decided to go for Ings out. Now, had I gone Arnautovic to Mitrovic, I could have still afforded a Hazard move in one transfer, which I can now no longer do. I've now only got 0.2 in the bank. So if I do want to get Hazard in, I need a double move now. More on him a little bit later, as I'm sure many people still want me to talk a little bit more about him. So I ended up having, obviously, Hamer, who seems to be the second choice now, Mendy out, Silva out, Guendouzi out, and Arnautovic out as well. So 65 points from the 10 players. I was really happy with that, and I managed to get another green arrow. It's been green arrows every single game week this season, and my #1 tip for a green arrow every week would definitely have to be to have a terrible game week 1, which I did. Sort of. I was above average, but not by much. I was about 700k in the world. I'm now just outside the top 11k. About 11k and change, so I'm really looking forward to trying to break into the top 10k next week and hopefully go on a real push and try and actually win this thing. I know it's very early days, but I don't think I've ever been in a position early on where I've thought, you know what, I could win. And yes, the chances are very small, but imagine the clickbait that's coming your way if I do manage to get anywhere near the top. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at the team for the week ahead. In goal, I'll definitely be starting Joe Hart because Hamer, even if he did play, is against Spurs. Mendy is a real doubt now. What are people thinking about Mendy? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below, what you think about the Benjamin Mendy situation. Personally, I think I'm going to hold on to him. The reason that I'm thinking about holding on to him is because I have some fairly okay other fixtures. I've got Doherty, who's doing well. Alonso, always a danger. And then on my bench, I've got Wan-Bissaka, the legendary bonus point king, who is returning like a trooper for anyone that owns him this season. And I've got Duffy as well, whose stats are really good. And unlike last season, he's actually managing to transfer his stats into points as well. So if Mendy doesn't play again, I'll probably have a substitute coming in that I'm fairly happy with. Even Duffy, who's away at Man City. Brighton have Man City away. You never know with him. They get a lot of chances inside the box. They're two centre-backs. You never know. He's going to be my final defensive sub, but if he did come in, I wouldn't mind it too much. I would always be confident that he could pick up an attacking return. The situation with Mendy is a little bit different for me because I got him in at 6.0. Now, many people will be in that same situation as well. If you got him in at 6.0, you're going to lose a little bit of money if you get him out and then you want him back again next week. And Man City have some tricky away fixtures coming up, mixed in with some very nice home fixtures as well. And I want him. If he's going to play, I want him. But if they say he's ruled out for like 2-3 weeks, maybe more, I will be looking to ship him out. But if not, I really would like to bank my transfer this week. I wanted to do that the last week, but I didn't manage to, obviously, with the Ings out transfer. Wolves have Southampton at home. Really liking the way Wolves are playing now. I thought they were very defensive and very pessimistic in their play for the first couple of games, but they've definitely picked things up. Chelsea against Liverpool. This is going to be one of the main talking points of the week now. Do you play your Chelsea defenders? Do you play your Liverpool defenders? Do you get rid of Salah, Mane? What do you do with Hazard? Very interesting. Now, for me, it's just another reason to not get Hazard in. Now, it's crazy watching the Chelsea matches without him. He looks such a threat, but I haven't managed to fit him in so far. And you know what? It's worth highlighting this. You can't have every single player in your team. There's just not space. So sometimes you have to go without desirable players. And I'm showing with my overall rank that as long as you have suitable alternatives, it doesn't affect things too much. Would I be in a better position if I did have him? Well, obviously I would, but who knows what transfers I would have had to make to actually get him in and where I would have lost points and all that crap. So I just prefer to keep it simple. You can't fit everyone in your team. For me, I think the Liverpool attackers could all get points against Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea look the most solid defensively. They could always pick up a goal, so I would probably be looking to rest Liverpool defenders, especially if Van Dijk is out. He definitely makes things a bit more solid at the back. So if you do have Liverpool defenders, I know they're quite expensive, unless you have Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's never nice putting 6 million on the bench, but if I did have a Liverpool defender, which I don't, I would probably be benching them away against Chelsea. The attackers, I'm happy to keep them. I'm not looking to ship them out. I know that a lot of people are turning against Salah. His ownership has dropped by hundreds and hundreds of thousands this year, but I'm sticking by him. I'll probably have him for the whole season. You know, things can always change, but yeah, Mane's the more likely to go still for me, although I will be keeping him for the time being. David Silva now is a very interesting one because a source close to him on the Man City forums, a fan forum of Man City anyway, has proven in the past to be a close friend of David Silva. Many times he's given information about him and has been right every single time. And this close friend of David Silva has said he's now been told he can't play 3 times in 7 days anymore. This means we're going to have to keep an eye on his fixtures and when he's played leading up to a fixture, and say he plays midweek and then there's a game at the weekend and then there's a Champions League fixture in the week next week. If he can only play 2 games in 7 days, which one does he play? Does he play the league game or the Champions League game? It might depend on the opponent. It's going to take a lot of guesswork, and now for me, he's put a lot of doubt in my mind, and I know the Man City rotation game is always going to be a headache when you own their players. I'm definitely going to be holding him for 1 more week at least, but that is an issue for me. When Kevin De Bruyne is back, I think I will definitely be looking to ship David Silva out. But until then, I will probably hold unless he gets dropped in the league again. Up front, we've got Mitrovic, the beast. His stats are through the roof. He just looks a threat in every game. He hit the bar as well as scoring, had numerous other headed opportunities, and he comes up against a leaky Everton defence. I'm more than happy to have him in my side. Man City are away to Oxford in the Cup midweek, so hopefully Gabriel Jesus plays in that and not Aguero, so that he looks more likely to play at the weekend. If they play a youth striker and neither of the two play, I will be nervous with that captain's armband. I'm always nervous with the captain's armband on a Man City player. It just doesn't feel right to me, and it's one of the reasons why I really don't like holding Aguero at the moment, because you're going to want to captain him most weeks, but you're also always going to be worried that he could get benched, and what if he comes on for that 1 pointer? It's just always going to be nerve-wracking. And so far, my captain has always delivered some points this season. So touch wood, I hope that streak continues with him this weekend. And Arnautovic is the other one. I have no physiotherapy experience. I'm not an injury expert, but I've got a feeling Arnautovic will play this week. He's had this similar injury for a while now, and it never seems to keep him out very long. In fact, I was surprised that he missed the weekend's game. Hopefully he will be fit, and they're at home against Man United, and Arnautovic is fixture proof. He can score against anyone, especially because he's on penalties. And West Ham are at home as well. They're going to have the crowd behind them. You know, he can score against anyone, even that sort of the bus that Man United like to park. It's not been as effective this season, and I'm more than happy to keep him in my side. If you look at that first 11 that I've got, and a couple of subs as well, I'm looking to hold my transfer, although things can always change. I'm not happy with Guendouzi on my bench. I've got a little bit of an issue with the goalkeeper situation, but Joe Hart is returning massively at the moment. I would definitely recommend Joe Hart to you if you are on wildcard, or if you're looking at a way into the Burnley defence. It looks like he's nailed. Pre-season, I was saying avoid him because who knows what's going to happen, but it looks like the number one spot is his now, and that Tom Heaton will play in the Cups. I see no reason that Joe Hart will get dropped, because even if he makes one mistake, Sean Dyche is quite a loyal coach. Hart has made some really good saves this season. He's put in some good performances. He's picking up points in FPL as well, which is always important. And he's getting bonus points as well. So it's always the case with the Burnley keepers. With the way Burnley defend, they allow a lot of shots, but from sort of easy to defend or easy to save positions. Joe Hart, for me, is the best value goalkeeper in the game at the moment. Other fixtures that we've got, a lot of people are looking at the Arsenal defence, and they did manage to keep a clean sheet against Everton, but I'm still not massively sold on Everton. I've not owned Richarlison this season, and I'm not going to be bringing him in, but Fulham does look a very attractive fixture for people like Richarlison. But going back to the Arsenal defenders, I'm still not sure on them. Everton are hit and miss. I think you need at least this Watford fixture. Watford are doing well this season, really well, and I'm sure that hasn't gone unnoticed by most of you. This is a much tougher test for Arsenal, based on form at least. And Watford have some good players. Troy Deeney, well documented that he bullied the Arsenal defence last season. So who knows, will Arsenal have the cojones now to defend well against him, or will they feel the wrath of the battering ram once again? Man City players always look attractive, and that fixture against Brighton is one of the picks of the season. I would say they can defend quite well, Brighton, but I expect Man City to win by 3 or 4 there. Spurs away against Huddersfield. Now Huddersfield, probably the most attractive fixture on the fixture list at the moment, maybe Cardiff. But Spurs, they just don't look themselves. Don't know what it is. Harry Kane, I'm not sold on it. And I saw an interesting thing this week that Mauricio Pochettino doesn't believe in fatigue. He believes fatigue is all in the mind. And this has been proven to be wrong. Numerous sports scientists and numerous studies prove that fatigue is not in the mind. It's a real physical thing. And this could prove why Kane and his friends out there playing for Spurs look like they're all out of energy. They look like they're fatigued. And if the coach doesn't believe in it and it believes it's all a mental barrier that you have to push through, I don't really know where I'm going with that, but I just don't want Spurs assets at the moment. Trippier, I know a lot of people are looking at, but there's always going to be that rotation risk, and yeah, he's probably going to play this game. For me, I'm avoiding Spurs, at least for the time being. Newcastle against Leicester, that could be a board draw. Both teams quite defensive. Puel likes to play defensive. Rafa Benitez, obviously a very defensive manager. Would not be surprised to see that be 0-0. Wolves against Southampton. I'd be happy having any player in that match, to be honest. Wolves have looked good, but if you've got Danny Ings or if you've got a Southampton defender, I wouldn't be massively worried. But I think Wolves will probably nick it. Chelsea-Liverpool, we've already spoken about a bit. Cardiff-Burnley, I'm backing Joe Hart in that, and if you've got Burnley defenders, they could nick some points maybe. If you've got a Burnley attacker as well, I don't know why you would have any Cardiff players, but I wouldn't be massively optimistic of them scoring. Burnley look like they're sort of back to their old ways. Their result against Bournemouth was very fluky. I don't know, that's not the right word. They deserved the victory, but to win by 4 goals was a crazy statistical anomaly. But Burnley do look like they're back. I think being knocked out of Europe has helped them massively. And Bournemouth against Crystal Palace, I think a lot of people will predict goals there. Wouldn't surprise me to see a few goals on either end, so that's why I've got Wan-Bissaka on the bench at the moment, and I do have Fraser in my team, so I prefer to normally bench the defender if I have an attacker playing against them, unless I think the defender can get attacking points. And I'm not too positive that Wan-Bissaka will be delivering a lot of attacking points this season. That pretty much brings an end to my thoughts for this week and for last week as well. What do you think? What do you have planned for this game week and perhaps the next game week as well? How are you doing? What's your overall rank? Are you looking for tips? Ask your questions down in the comments below and I'll try and get back to as many of you as I possibly can. If you have enjoyed this video and you're not easily offended, then make sure you hit that subscribe button with notifications turned on. That means click the little bell button. That would be very much appreciated, and I'll see you again in another video. Thank you very much for watching.